Welcome to the Donovan and Jorgensen Heating and Cooling Friday Night Rivals pregame show. I am Mike McGivern. Thank you so much for joining us. So it's week 5 of the high school football season, and it always amazes me how long it takes the season to get here and how quick it goes. However, I'm not at practice every day, not looking at game film every single night, not getting together with other coaches on the weekends. So for some coaches, players, and families, it might not seem like it's going along that quickly, but I have to believe for the teams that still have a shot, that they truly have a chance to achieve that first goal of every high school football team in the area, and that's win your conference. The season is moving along quite rapidly. For tonight's game, we have 2 teams that are still in the running to win the Woodland Conference. 2 teams that come into tonight's matchup 3-1 overall and 2-0 in conference. Tonight, the Hustling Hawks from Greenfield travel just over 2 miles. That's it, to take on the Panthers from Greendale in a Woodland Conference matchup. In this game, even though the schools are so close, 2 miles apart, it's hard for me to call it a true rivalry. Greendale has won this matchup each time they've played since 2003, and I'm sure Greenfield wants to change that trend starting tonight. Let's break down the Greendale Panthers. They started the year with a 27-17 loss to the Division II state champions, Lake Geneva Badger, and have won 3 in a row since. We are now joined by the head football coach at Greendale High School, Jermaine Murry. Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
How are you?
I'm doing good, really good. Hey, so far so good, right? You guys start out, as always, you guys play somebody really difficult early on, and when you go against the Division II state champion, Lake Geneva Badger, I think you learn a lot about your team, and between week 1 and week 2, I think as football coaches, you learn more about your team than at any other time in the season. What did you learn about your team that early after taking a loss in the first game against Badger?
I think we learned, for me, is learning about understanding that our team is going to have some identity. We are competitive. We are physical. Talk with the coach, Coach Hensler from Badger. Definitely commended our team for a good battle. We definitely moved the ball. We know that we can move the ball, not only on the ground, but through the air. And it really just showed us that we can compete with anyone. And, Division II state champs, respect that, with all due respect to Coach Hensler. But the reality is I know that we have a great team, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Hey, when we had talked earlier, you said we come out of the locker room, we look like a basketball team sometimes. We're a little bit taller than some of my past teams at Greendale. And, we can utilize that to our advantage a little bit rather than having all the little real fast guys around the field. You guys are learning how to utilize some size.
Yeah, absolutely. We have some size on the perimeter, up front, especially on our defensive line as well. Just trying to maximize our opportunities and really get our players in position to make plays.
Coach, how long have you been coaching over at Greendale? I know you've been the head coach for, is it year 7, something like that?
No, this is my 4th year as head coach. But actually,
I'm
all together,
I'm kicking Stoltz out even longer, right? Sorry about that, Rob. I tell you what, great guy, and you were on his staff for a long time.
Yeah, I was on his staff 19 years. Been all over from freshman to JV and varsity reserve to varsity. Really loved it. Really embraced the roles that I was a part of. And now, as head coach, really just learning so much from Rob and taking that and moving it in the right direction has really proved dividends for not only for myself, but also for our staff.
Hey, Coach, that's different than some other guys, right? Where you are at every level. And I think that gives you some respect to what guys are doing, varsity reserve coaches and freshman coaches and the amount of time and how hard they work. And I think that gives Yeah, I really think that's an advantage for you to understand the pain that they're going through, even though they're not on Friday nights with the marching band and the cheerleaders and the lights on. Those guys got to work really hard to get those kids prepared to play at your level. And I think it's really good for the program that you understand all of that. I think the only thing you haven't done, you haven't flipped hot dogs or anything, right?
No flipping hot dogs here. But, really, I think, to your point is really understanding, how our coaches adapt and really go through, their pain points. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but it's all about how can we continue to develop our kids and make them better. And, overall, our staff has done a remarkable job of doing that. We continue to, find competition when we can and just be able to understand that, throughout this time, we're going to, have our pain points, but we're going to work together. We're going to accomplish this and we're going to move it and get better 1% every day.
Coach, you talked about players, and there's a couple of seniors that are leaders of this team, and we talked off the air, and you said, look, these are the guys, right? These are the guys that they understand what leadership is, and they're leading this team, and I want to start with Landon Lopez, if I can. Awfully good football player.
Yeah, Landon Lopez, our 2-year captain at Greendale. Last year threw for over 1,800 yards. This year, on target to eclipse that with 750 plus yards right now. He definitely is the heartbeat of our team, knows the ins and outs of our offense, can get us into every quick set that we can possibly get us into, but also being smart with the ball. Our challenge this year for him is to be smart, take what the defense gives us, but at the same time, don't take the unnecessary hits.
Yeah, I agree with that. And he's a tough kid who, if you cut him loose, he's going to try to get that extra 2 or 3 yards. What I like about him, Coach, and I watched it last year as a junior, I watch quarterbacks and I identify if it's their huddle. If they're the guy he owns the huddle, and I was impressed with him last year. We saw you guys against Grafton that in a torrential downpour, and Grafton played pretty well. You guys played well. Grafton got a couple of breaks, but I watched him, and then I was on the sidelines as he was coaching up some of the younger players. Was really impressed, and even seniors. He was getting into seniors saying, "Hey, we got to go. Let's get moving here. Give me a little more time to be able to throw the ball." And I was really impressed with him. And then Trevor, is it Picaco?
That's correct.
There you go. Talk to me about him. He plays both sides of the ball and catches the ball, and he plays, I think, some linebacker or some safety. What does he play on the defensive end?
Yeah, so Trevor is our inside linebacker, has been there last year. First team all-conference as a linebacker last year. Returning, is doing very well, is the commander of our defense. And also on the offensive side as a wide receiver, definitely doing well, can block, can catch, can definitely make some crucial plays in the matter of moments. It's just a matter of him understanding what the defense gives him on the offensive side, but also from a defensive perspective, he is a person that is going to stick his nose in there and make a play.
Well, Coach, I got to tell you, when we talked prior, and you said, look, this team is starting to figure out their identity. And when you put that jersey on and it says Greendale on the front of the jersey, the expectations is higher than it is at other schools. And I love the fact that when we talked, you said these kids understand that. The amount of work they put in the off season, they understand when they put that jersey on what is expected of them. And I really like the fact that you enjoy this group of kids, and every year it's a little different for coaches, and you got nothing but great things to say about this staff and this team. So, Coach, thanks a lot for a couple of minutes of your time. I really appreciate it. We're going to get you a break. On the other side of the break, we're going to be joined by Coach Mike Kubas from Greenfield High School. This is the Donovan and Jorgensen Heating and Cooling Friday Night Rivals pregame show only on My 24.